Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra.
Welcome to this edition of Market Mantra, in which we give you a complete update on the economic, business and stock market news of the day. I'm Arjun Chaudhary and with me my co-anchor in Hindi, Manoj Pathak.
नमस्कार। मार्केट मंत्र के ताजा अंक में आपका स्वागत है। आधे घंटे के इस कार्यक्रम में हमेशा की तरह हम देश और दुनिया की चुनी हुई कारोबारी, आर्थिक और शेयर बाजार से जुड़ी ताजा खबरों को लेकर हाजिर हैं। हमारे साथ खबरों पर चर्चा करने के लिए फोन लाइन पर आमंत्रित हैं वरिष्ठ आर्थिक पत्रकार पुनीत जैन। पुनीत, कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद मनोज।
आइए आरंभ करते हैं अंग्रेजी में हेडलाइन से, जिसे लेकर मौजूद हैं अर्जुन चौधरी।
Equity benchmarks climb more than 1.5% amid positive sentiment in global markets and fresh foreign fund inflows. Sensex closes at 34,732. Nifty settles at 10,244. And Indian foreign exchange reserves rise to touch a lifetime high above $507 billion in the second week of this month.
घरेलू शेयर बाजार में लिवाली तेज, प्रमुख सूचकांक 1.5% बढ़त के साथ हुए बंद। सेंसेक्स 34,732 पर पहुंचा, निफ्टी 10,244 दर्ज हुआ। और देश में इस महीने के दूसरे सप्ताह में विदेशी मुद्रा भंडार बढ़कर अपने अब तक के सर्वोच्च स्तर $507 अरब पर पहुंचा। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों से मिले सकारात्मक संकेतों से आज घरेलू शेयर बाजार में लिवाली तेज रही और प्रमुख सूचकांक 1.5% बढ़त में रहे। बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का सेंसेक्स कारोबार के अंत में 524 अंक यानी 1.53% उछाल के साथ 34,732 पर जा पहुंचा। उधर नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का निफ्टी 153 अंक यानी 1.51% की बढ़त के साथ 10,244 दर्ज हुआ। विस्तृत बाजारों की ओर चलें तो बीएसई मिड कैप इंडेक्स 1.03% लाभ में रहा। स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स में 1.37% की वृद्धि देखने को मिली।
Equity benchmarks today rallied more than 1.5%, propelled by stellar gains in index heavyweight, Reliance Industries amid positive sentiment in global markets and fresh foreign fund inflows. After soaring 640 points during the day, the 30-share index settled 524 points, 1.53% higher at 34,732. Similarly, the broader NSE Nifty surged 153 points, 1.51% to 10,244. In the broader market at the BSE mid-cap also added 1.03%, while small-cap climbed 1.37%. Bajaj Finance was the top gainer in the pack, soaring around 7%, followed by Reliance Industries, which ended over 6% higher. Reliance Industries spurted to its record high during the day after Mukesh Ambani said his flagship firm is now net debt-free after a record 1.69 lakh crore rupees fundraising in under 2 months. On the other hand, IndusInd Bank, HCL Tech, ITC, Mahindra & Mahindra and HDFC were among the laggards. According to analysts, besides stock-specific action, rally in global markets and fresh foreign fund inflows buoyed market sentiment. The experts said it has been a good week for the global markets as positive sentiment on reopening the economies overshadowed reports of fresh COVID-19 cases in US and China. Market mood was supported by a gradual resumption in business activities and an earlier than expected normalization in certain consumption sectors. Puneet, I hope you're still with us.
Sure.
Puneet, what were the reasons for banking stocks going up in the cash market? And there's also a long build-up in the futures market. I'm talking about both commercial banks and NBFCs.
So Arjun, for banking stocks, I think it was a very good day because of two things. One, we had reports in media this morning which suggested that the advanced tax collections from banking companies has been very robust in the quarter. In fact, one of the tax collections on the advanced tax front has actually come from banking companies and NBFCs, which was very surprising and that's why we saw banks doing very well. Even NBFCs did very well today in the market. I think that was one of the major reasons that investors who had been fretting that finance companies and banks will be adversely affected by the lockdown. I think those fears were somewhat abated. Of course, the larger issue in the market, and I think there were three main factors you touched upon in your story, is the first, of course, was the fact that Reliance Industries gained significantly 6%, and the company is now the largest by market cap in the country. The market cap has touched 12 lakh crores. So clearly today that alone added something like 80-90 points to the Nifty 50 index. Along with it, I think the ongoing recovery in the global markets, and not only global markets. In fact, today Morgan Stanley, the chief economist, has come out and said that they are looking at a V-shaped recovery in global economy, and that's a major statement. In fact, this tweet by the chief economist of Morgan Stanley, who happens to be an Indian, was retweeted by US President. So I think people are beginning to believe that there could be a V-shaped recovery in global economy, and therefore we've seen global stock markets also go higher. And you'll be surprised in fact that in many European countries, economic activity is almost near at the levels where it was before the pandemic broke out and where lockdowns happened. So I think the recovery in the global economy has really surprised investors and economists, and I think all that is fueling the current the rise that we see in the stocks.
पुनीत जी, आपने बड़ी अच्छी बातें कही कि भारतीय बाजार ही नहीं बल्कि पूरी दुनिया में निवेशकों के मन में एक उम्मीद जगी है और ये उम्मीद अपेक्षाकृत कहीं अधिक तेजी से देखने को मिल रही है। हम यहाँ घरेलू बाजार के ही संदर्भ में आपसे समझना चाहेंगे कि पिछले एक सप्ताह का यदि हम कारोबार देखें तो आज आखिरी दिवस है कारोबार का, कुल मिलाकर ये संकेत क्या दे रहा है आने वाले सप्ताह के लिए? जो तेजी के संकेत दिख रहे हैं वो वर्तमान स्थितियों को देखते हुए जारी रहने के आसार हैं या फिर कुछ कमजोरियां बची हुई हैं अभी भी?
मनोज, देखिए, मैं ये कहूंगा बाजार को देखते हुए कि बाजार में हम यहाँ से कोई बहुत बड़ी गिरावट या बहुत बड़ा पैनिक अब यहाँ से हम अपेक्षा नहीं करते। ऐसा नहीं लगता मुझे कि कोई बहुत नेगेटिव सरप्राइज स्टॉक मार्केट में हम देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि कंपनीज की जो भी वर्किंग पे असर आया है वो ऑलरेडी मार्केट में प्राइस्ड इन है, और उसके बाद कोरोना वायरस को लेकर जो भी चिंताएं थी उसको भी लेकर बाजार में काफी उतार चढ़ाव हमने देखा। पर कुल मिलाकर मैं ये कहूंगा कि जो निवेशक कॉन्फिडेंस दिखा रहे हैं, आपको हैरानी होगी कि एफआईआईज इनफैक्ट काफी ज्यादा बाइंग कर रहे हैं भारतीय बाजारों में, बल्कि जो डोमेस्टिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं या म्यूचुअल फंड्स हैं उनसे कई गुना बाइंग अब फॉरेन इंस्टीट्यूशन इन्वेस्टर्स की चल रही है। पिछले पूरे सप्ताह में हमने देखा कि एफआईआईज ने कंसिस्टेंटली बाइंग करी। तो ये सब चीजें जब मैं देखता हूं तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो आने वाले समय में हम स्टॉक मार्केट में देखेंगे, देखिए स्टॉक मार्केट है, यहाँ पर कभी बढ़त भी होगी, घटत भी होगी, बाजार गिरेंगे भी। ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए हमें कि बाजार एक तरफा बढ़ेंगे, ऐसा कभी होता नहीं है, बाजार में उतार चढ़ाव आते हैं। पर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो बाजार में एक पैनिक का जो माहौल था वो शायद अब हम फिलहाल शॉर्ट टर्म में हम नहीं देखेंगे, और यहाँ से बाजार धीरे धीरे ऊपर नीचे करते हुए वो कंसोलिडेशन करेगा, और नेक्स्ट 2-3 क्वार्टर्स में मुझे लगता है कि हम बाजार में एक शायद नई ऊंचाई भी देख सकते हैं।
Puneet, if you look at the provisional data today, FIIs were the net buyers of 1,237 crore rupees in the equity market, and the domestic institutional investors were the net sellers of 880 crore rupees. I would like to ask you about the realty index, which was the top performer today. It went up by 6.3%. What were the reasons for this rise?
So, of course, the chief reason, because in the realty index, one of the companies, DLF, is a very heavy, it has a large weight in the index, and DLF went up by more than 10% today. So clearly that increased the index, realty index. However, that said, even other real estate companies were doing very well, because like I said earlier, these companies had lost more than 50% of the market value in the last few months, because the fears were that work from home will be the new culture, people will not be able to invest in new real estate, and market really priced in all those fears. I think as we see the unlocking progress, and in fact there have been rumors that lockdowns will be reimposed. I think all those fears were misplaced, and the markets are saying that okay, we know these are difficult days, we know these companies are going to face some kind of problem, but it is not a kind of a shutdown of these companies. These companies will be able to weather the storm and they'll be able to come back. So I think it's kind of that correction in the real estate sector, because those stocks had really fallen very sharply in the last 3 months.
Well, speaking about correction, we have seen profit taking or booking in the IT sector with short build-up in select stocks like NIIT Technologies. So what is the prospect for the IT stocks?
So Arjun, in fact, IT stocks have emerged as a new defensive sector for investors. So when in fact the entire markets fell in the month of March, April and May, we saw that two sectors, FMCG, pharma and IT sectors, emerged as a defensive sectors for investors. So a lot of money went into those stocks. Now that we believe that people want to come back to growth stories, they are looking to reinvest in, you'll be surprised at auto stocks. I mean, they've been doing very well. Maruti is back to about 6,000 levels, whereas the sales haven't picked up, but there is hope, there is expectation that these companies will be able to restore growth to some extent. And I think some money is kind of coming out from the pharma, IT, and to some extent from FMCG stocks, and is getting reinvested in growth stocks, where there is a slightly higher risk, but I think the expectations of higher profit is also there.
पुनीत जी, आपने कहा कि आईटी सेक्टर डिफेंसिव स्टॉक जैसा नजर आ रहा है हाल के दिनों में, और दूसरी ओर जो फार्मा सेक्टर है उसकी भी आपने चर्चा की, इसे डिफेंसिव सेक्टर मतलब माना जाता रहा है लंबे अरसे से, लेकिन जो वर्तमान हालात हैं, वर्तमान स्थितियां हैं कोरोना को लेकर, उसमें क्या ये डिफेंसिव सेक्टर खासतौर से जो फार्मा है वो किस दिशा में आने वाले दिनों में रुख करेगा? डिफेंसिव ही बना रहेगा या इसमें हम थोड़ी और अधिक कह लें कि आक्रामक खरीदारी देखेंगे?
मनोज जी, फार्मा एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, या एक सेक्टर मैं कहूंगा भारत के लिए, क्योंकि बिफोर दिस कोरोना वायरस पेंडेमिक स्टार्टेड, फार्मा सेक्टर्स आउट ऑफ फेवर थे, इन्वेस्टर्स उसमें बहुत पैसा लगाने को तैयार नहीं थे, और ऐसा लग रहा था कि फार्मा सेक्टर की कंपनीज के लिए आने वाले समय में काफी परेशानियां रहेंगी। लेकिन वो सारा माहौल बदल गया और फार्मा कंपनीज के को जल्दी से यूएस एफडीए अप्रूवल्स भी आने लगी, उनकी काफी प्रॉब्लम्स खत्म हो गई और उनकी डिमांड बहुत बढ़ी। तो हमने देखा कि फार्मा में एक नई तेजी, सभी शेयर्स में हमने एक तेजी देखी। मुझे लगता है कुछ समय तक फार्मा के स्टॉक्स यहाँ पर कंसोलिडेट करेंगे, क्योंकि काफी तेजी हम देख चुके हैं उसमें। लेकिन यदि आप मुझसे कहें कि 2 साल और 3, 4, 5 साल का यदि मैं समय देता हूं, तो मुझे लगता है कि फार्मा आने वाले समय में फार्मा स्टॉक्स की प्रदर्शन बहुत अच्छा होगा, और जो ग्रोथ वहां पर खत्म हो गई थी वो ग्रोथ वापस आने के काफी चांसेस हैं इन द नेक्स्ट 2-3 years.
Well, Puneet, some would say that the pharmaceutical stocks have witnessed a bull run, but with the India-China tensions because of what's happening at the Galwan Valley and diplomatic efforts to free Indian soldiers, which has been successful, there's also the fear that the macroeconomic trade between India and China would be affected. How do you see the active pharmaceutical ingredient imports from China, the API imports being affected, and that impacting the productivity of pharmaceutical industry in India?
So you're right. I mean, unfortunately, the unfortunate events on the border. So they have implications for industries across the board, but particularly for pharmaceutical industry, because a lot of Indian companies import their APIs, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, from China, because China is a bulk producer of that ingredient. I think that equation is going to change dramatically in the next few years. I think India is going to emerge as a major producer of specialty chemicals which are used for APIs. And not only will India replace its own demand through domestic production, India, I think, will emerge as a major producer for APIs for the world, because the world wants to really diversify their buying from China. And I think India is very well placed, because to be able to become a major player in API, you have to be a large player. The scale has to be very large. So clearly, India, which has a very strong, very large domestic market for APIs, should be able to first satisfy its own demand and then become an economically significant player globally. It's not easy for other players like European companies to become large, But India, because of domestic demand, can play that role. And I think that's why I said that in 2-3 years, 4 years, I expect India to become a very significant pharma player in the world and replace China to some extent, particularly for APIs.
पुनीत, यहाँ पर हम श्रोताओं से आग्रह करना चाहेंगे कि एक छोटा सा विराम हम लेंगे, उसके बाद फिर से हम चर्चा आपके साथ जारी रखेंगे। श्रोताओं बने रहिए हमारे साथ।
अपने साथ अपनों का ध्यान रखो, बड़े बुजुर्गों का तुम ध्यान रखो। महामारी से लड़ना है बहुत जरूरी, ज्यादा पास न जाना, रखो 2 गज दूरी। सुरक्षित दादा दादी नाना नानी अभियान, अपने साथ अपनों का ध्यान।
Welcome back to Market Mantra. After that short break, we were discussing about market performance with our market analyst, Puneet Jain. Puneet, I hope you're still with us.
Yes.
Puneet, tell us something about the energy index, which went up by 5% today, and the oil and gas index, which went up by 2.5% today. Is that a normal consequence of the bull run we saw today and the FII interest in the market, or is there something that they are foreseeing in these two sectors?
So energy companies, as we all know, have also bounced back very strongly. In fact, oil prices, crude oil prices, which were at record lows, in fact, they went into negative territory in the month of April. They have now bounced back to substantially higher levels, around $40 per barrel. So clearly, the demand for crude energy products has bounced back. And therefore, and because oil companies have been raising oil prices consistently over the past many days, their marketing margins have also expanded. So clearly, oil companies and energy companies have a very good time right now. They are making money. But I expect government to cut back on this, because we don't want prices to really go much higher. Government had raised a lot of taxes, excise duty on petrol products. I expect some of that to come down. But globally, if we see, energy companies have done very well. They have bounced back, the earnings have bounced back, and the fears that a lot of these companies will go belly up, I think again those fears have not materialized. Markets again kind of reacting to that situation with a positive bounce in their stocks.
आइए खबरों का सिलसिला आगे बढ़ाते हैं और नजर डालते हैं वैश्विक बाजारों पर। सबसे पहले ध्यान दें एशियाई शेयर बाजार पर, जहां उतार चढ़ाव के बीच कारोबार आज देखने को मिला है। जापान का निक्केई 225 सूचकांक 0.6% लाभ के साथ बंद हुआ। दक्षिण कोरिया का कोस्पी 0.4% फायदे में रहा। चीन का शंघाई कंपोजिट इंडेक्स 1% ऊपर उठकर बंद हुआ। हांगकांग के हिंगसेंग में 0.7% की तेजी आई, जबकि बिकवाली के दबाव में सिंगापुर का स्ट्रेट्स टाइम्स इंडेक्स 1.2% लुढ़क गया। यूरोपीय बाजारों की ओर चलें तो समाचार तैयार किए जाने तक लिवाली का सिलसिला बना हुआ था। अंतर्दिवसीय कारोबार में लंदन का FTSE 100 1.4% ऊपर चल रहा था। जर्मनी के डेक्स में 1.5% की बढ़त दिख रही थी। उधर फ्रांस का CAC 40 1.2% ऊपर कारोबार कर रहा था।
Moving on to the US market, the S&P 500 was little changed yesterday as coronavirus infections picked up again in parts of the US, and data showed an elevated level of weekly jobless claims, lending weight to predictions of a prolonged economic recovery. The Dow Jones and the S&P 500 remained unchanged, while the Nasdaq Composite added 0.3%. Puneet, how would you look at the U.S. market right now, especially their institutions like the Federal Reserve, which has only helping pump more liquidity into the system through the discount rate, which has helped emerging markets like India. Do you see that kind of FII activity sustainable, continuing in the short to the medium term?
So Arjun, U.S. Federal Reserve has taken unprecedented steps during these past few months to support U.S. economy. And in fact, these steps go far beyond what we saw in 2008 and 2009 financial crisis. And for example, the U.S. Federal Reserve today is a very big buyer of U.S. corporate bonds. So they're going ahead and lending U.S. Federal Reserve. It is like RBI lending directly to the companies, to the big companies. So U.S. Federal Reserve has become a very big buyer of U.S. corporate bonds. They are lending to banks, they're lending to companies. In fact, they're supporting a lot of spending by the US government, which has given a lot of direct money to the consumers. So clearly the US has put a lot of weight behind its efforts to support the economy, which we have seen to some extent is bearing fruits now. So consumption, retail sales data, if you see consumption, that has gone up. What we need to see is an improvement in employment numbers. Employment numbers in US continue to be weak, but my own estimate is that going forward we'll see the employment numbers also improve because the consumption and the sales have gone up. So I think overall, so far they have done very well. They're supported. Of course, the liquidity injection they have put in, a very small part, a spillover of that has come into emerging markets. India has been a beneficiary of that. But I think US economy is going to be the big beneficiary, and we will see US economy do well, at least in the short term. We don't know what will be the impact of all these measures 1 year down the line, but I think in the next 6 months or so, US market will see strong liquidity and therefore strong support for the growth.
Briefly, Puneet, what is the impact of the upcoming presidential elections on the US economy?
See, US presidential elections, of course, is a very complex process, and although it is said that in the years that stock markets have done well, US presidents tend to get re-elected. So I think that is one of the motivations behind US government to keep the economy very buoyant, and they want to keep the headline numbers very strong. My own estimate is that a lot of things will play into the US elections like they usually do, but economy, how it performs in the next few months, because the elections I think are around November. So we still have 3, 4, 5 months for that. I think how the markets perform, how economy performs will play a very significant role in deciding the outcome in elections there.
पुनीत जी, हम आपका ध्यान चीन की ओर ले चलना चाहेंगे। कोरोना की शुरुआत चीन से हुई। प्री कोरोना, पोस्ट कोरोना अभी नहीं कह सकते, मिड कोरोना कह सकते, लेकिन पोस्ट कोरोना की दिशा में बढ़ते हुए चीन की अर्थव्यवस्था किस दिशा में जाती दिख रही है और इसका क्या प्रभाव पड़ सकता है वैश्विक अर्थव्यवस्था पर?
मनोज जी, देखिए, शॉर्ट टर्म में ऐसा लगता है क्योंकि चीन में कोरोना को लेकर बहुत नेगेटिव एक्टिविटी नहीं हुई। जैसे लॉकडाउन वहां बहुत व्यापक नहीं था, सिर्फ वुहान एक उनका एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उसमें था। उसके बाद भी जो कोरोना के केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए हैं, बीजिंग से हुए, दूसरी जगह से हुए, उसका इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी पर बहुत बड़ा असर नहीं था। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जो स्ट्रैटेजिक जगह थी चीन की वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी में, उसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा आघात हुआ है। उनकी क्रेडिबिलिटी जो है चाइना की, वो बहुत अफेक्ट हुई है। जो कंज्यूमर्स हैं, ना सिर्फ भारत में, वर्ल्ड वाइड, दे आर नॉट हैप्पी विद चाइना। मतलब चाइना की जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी बिल्कुल नहीं है, वहां जो ओपेकनेस है, उसको लेकर मुझे लगता है कि देखिए 3 महीने, 6 महीने या 1 साल में कोई कंपनी अपनी सप्लाई चेन को चेंज नहीं कर सकती। तो शायद कुछ समय तक दुनिया की कंपनीज जो हैं वो डिपेंडेंट रहेगी चाइना पर अपना सामान खरीदने के लिए। लेकिन डेफिनेटली आने वाले समय में 2 वर्ष में, 5 वर्ष में, वो कंपनीज अपनी सप्लाई चेन्स को वहां से डाइवर्सिफाई करेंगी और अपनी कंजम्पशन को दूसरी जगह से वो उसको भरपाया करने की कोशिश करेंगी। तो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि चाइना को जो एक ग्लोबल स्टेज पर बहुत बड़ा एक मोमेंटम था, उसमें कमी आएगी और डेफिनेटली अदर कंट्रीज जैसे भारत है या ताइवान है या वियतनाम है, इन देशों को एक मौका होगा कि वो अपनी सप्लाई चेन को बेहतर कर सकें और उसको कुछ हद तक उसका फायदा उठा सकें।
आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं।
लेट्स हैव अ लुक एट आवर रुपी स्टोरी नाउ।
अंतर बैंकिंग विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में $1 की तुलना में रुपया 6 पैसे कमजोर हुआ, 76 रुपए 20 पैसे के स्तर पर आ गया।
In our third headline story now, India's foreign exchange reserves rose to touch a lifetime high of $507.64 billion in the second week of this month, helped by a significant jump in foreign currency assets. RBI data showed in the previous week, ended June 5, the foreign exchange reserves had crossed $500 billion mark for the first time after it surged by a massive $8.22 billion and reached $501.703 billion according to the weekly weekly data released by the Reserve Bank of India. According to economists, increase in foreign exchange reserves is due to higher capital inflows and also due to the narrowing current account deficit as trade activities have come to a standstill due to the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. They said this amount of foreign exchange reserves will be sufficient to cover the country import for 1 year. The gold reserves in the reporting week rose to $33.17 billion. Puneet, quite significant figures these. What are the reasons for the higher capital inflows, especially in this lockdown and post-lockdown period?
So, Arjun, we have had very interesting developments in this lockdown period when some large corporates, like we know Reliance Jio, has been able to raise a lot of money from foreign investors. In fact, many other companies, not just Reliance, but many other companies have been able to raise. Kotak Mahindra Bank was able to do a QIP, raise a lot of money. So India's forex reserves have been increasing because of these inflows. Although I must point out that foreign investors sold Indian corporate bonds very heavily. In fact, we saw a very large outflow of almost $15 billion in corporate bonds during last 2 months. But I think India's foreign exchange reserves have gone up because imports have come down. We've seen a crash in oil imports. We've seen a complete collapse of gold imports. And I think that has saved a lot of foreign exchange for India. Of course, our exports are also down and our dollar earnings are down. But net, I think this year India is going to have, maybe there will be a current account surplus for India as far as foreign exchange reserves are concerned. And a reserve of more than $500 billion is a lot of power for any country. It shows enormous stability and macro numbers. So I think that's a great news for India.
आइए खबरों का सिलसिला आगे बढ़ाते हैं। आवास और शहरी कार्य मंत्रालय तथा भारतीय लघु उद्योग विकास बैंक सिडबी ने एक समझौते पर हस्ताक्षर किया है। सिडबी को प्रधानमंत्री स्वनिधि योजना को लागू करने वाली एजेंसी बनाने के लिए ये समझौता हुआ है। मंत्रालय ने रेहड़ी पटरी के कारोबार से जुड़े लोगों के लिए प्रधानमंत्री आत्मनिर्भर निधि यानी पीएम स्वनिधि योजना 1 जून को शुरू की थी। इस योजना का उद्देश्य कोविड-19 के कारण लॉकडाउन के दौरान बुरी तरह प्रभावित रेहड़ी पटरी वालों को किफायती ऋण उपलब्ध कराने के लिए शुरू की गई है। इस योजना के तहत 50 लाख से अधिक लोगों को लाभ पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य है। रेहड़ी पटरी का काम करने वाले लोग इस योजना के तहत 10,000 रुपए तक का कार्यकारी पूंजी ऋण ले सकते हैं। ऋण की किस्त 1 वर्ष की अवधि में प्रतिमाह चुकानी होगी।
Well, let's have a look at the oil market now. Oil rose to above $42 a barrel, adding to gains in the previous session after OPEC producers and allies promised to meet supply cuts and signs of demand hit by the coronavirus crisis recovering. In intraday trade, Brent crude prices were trading at $42.60 per barrel, while WTI crude prices were at $40.20 per barrel. Puneet, many experts had deemed that the oil prices would be range bound below $40 per barrel, but now it seems that it has broken that range. It is $42. What is your estimate of the prices of oil being in the international market? Briefly.
Arjun, I think fundamentals of oil still point to a lower oil price, maybe about $30 to $35, because there is a lot of surplus oil in the market. And I think oil prices are up only because of supply cuts right now, but eventually I think they will come down and settle in the $30-35 range.
आइए नजर डालें सर्राफा बाजार पर। दिल्ली सर्राफा बाजार में आज सोने का मूल्य 144 रुपए बढ़कर 48,334 रुपए प्रति 10 ग्राम हो गया। चांदी 150 रुपए उछलकर 49,160 रुपए प्रति किलो पर पहुंच गई। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में सोने का मूल्य थोड़ा सा बढ़ा, $1,719 प्रति आउंस के स्तर पर पहुंच गया। चांदी $17.49 प्रति आउंस के स्तर पर पहुंच गई। बहुत संक्षिप्त प्रतिक्रिया, समय बहुत कम है। सोना अब किस दिशा में जाता दिख रहा? चमक और तेज होगी?
मुझे लगता है मनोज जी कि सोना अब यही कंसोलिडेट करेगा नैरो रेंज में 5% प्लस माइनस में, पर यहाँ से कोई बहुत ज्यादा रिस्क ऑफ ट्रेड नहीं है जिससे कि वहां पर बहुत बाइंग हो। मुझे लगता है सोने की कीमतें यही स्टेबल रहेंगी इसी दौरान।
श्रोताओं, हमने अभी चर्चा की वरिष्ठ आर्थिक पत्रकार पुनीत जैन के साथ। आप सभी की ओर से मैं पुनीत जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा। पुनीत, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद मनोज जी।
And before we close, a reminder of the headlines. Equity benchmarks climb more than 1.5% amid positive sentiment in global markets and fresh foreign fund inflows. Sensex closes at 34,732. Nifty settled at 10,244. And Indian foreign exchange reserves rise to touch a lifetime high above $507 billion in the second week of this month. And that's it in this edition of Market Mantra. For now, goodbye.
Market Mantra, Mantra.